Questions that come up along the way, feel free to ask questions in the chat. All right, welcome everybody. My name is Kayleen. I'm the founder of Startup Creative, and I am excited to share part two of this workshop in partnership with Squarespace, and it is how to get people coming back to your website. So last fortnight we did a series, episode on how to attract attention to your website. Part three will be in a fortnight, and it's how to turn those customers into visitors into paying customers. So I love all of these topics. I think I shared a lot of this in the last workshop, which was about the need for, or the opportunity, I guess, for websites to play a really vital role in converting, getting customers and paying customers, but also cultivating your own audience and your community off social media. So, one of the best things about a website, being able to build a database, and a relationship really with your audience, is that it's a platform that you own, and it's the data that you own. So we'll talk about it today, about getting people coming to your website, and building that database. So before we go any further, I'd just like to acknowledge that I'm on Gadigal land today, and I would like to pay my respects to the elders, both past and present, of the Eora Nation. So thank you for being here. Feel free to ask questions as we go. So, this topic, I realized when I said that how to get people coming back to your website, I think maybe that also needed a bit of explanation and why that's so important. Because I think sometimes as business owners, we can think that it's a bit of a given that we have this website. And the first workshop, we talked very much about how to get people to your website and get their attention. But one of the most important steps, which needs to happen in order for the third part of this workshop series, which is to convert visitors to paying customers, is that we often need them to come back multiple times before they're ready to make that purchase. And the reason that they do that, and you might have had this experience yourself as a user, but you save the website. Like I'm one of those people that has multiple tabs open at all times. When I find something, especially it's on social media these days, I'll often go click through to the link, find the website, open it in a tab, and save it as a bookmark or keep it open until I'm ready to take action on it. Because when we're moving so quickly on other platforms, whether it's, a social media platform, or sometimes it's, an ad that we saw on the side of a bus, or, someone told us about a website or business. But in such a fast-paced, information-heavy world, we can lose track of, like, what was that business name again? Or, like, where was it? So having a driving traffic to the website and keeping people there and reminding them to come back time and time again is a way to stay in their consciousness. And the like a lot of marketing research nowadays will say, I mean, it has been happening for years, but people need to hear about you multiple different times, and perhaps add to cart, or keep the tab open, or have a scroll, follow along on the blog, all of those things. Maybe open your emails, and then build that trust and that rapport until they're either ready to buy from you because maybe they can afford it, or the timing is right, or they're finally, in a headspace to sit and actually transact in the purchase. Art is a really good example of that. Not everybody is ready to buy straight away, but they want to have it in their cart, or, like, in their mind of, like, one day when I get when we move into our new house, I'm going to buy that piece of artwork that I've been looking at for ages. And so the visibility of attracting people's attention, which we talked about in the first workshop, needs to happen over and over. But then we also need to kind of put it in people's minds that they can keep coming back to us, that they can keep checking us out, because then they start to build more trust. They decide they are moving down the sales funnel that we talked about into coming up with why, convincing themselves, or you convincing them really, as to why now is the right time to buy when they're ready, whether that's their circumstances or whether it's something that you have on offer that finally meets their needs. Okay. So the need to keep coming people back to your website is an ongoing marketing strategy. I'm going to share some of those today, and something that you should be thinking about. Websites definitely should not be one of those kind of set it up and forget about it, and just go, oh well, it's there now. People will be able to find the information. It's something that we should keep alive and fresh, and keep incentivizing people to come back to over and over again. And then over time, they start to build that trust with you. Okay, and then we can also start to build our own database, and we can build that ongoing relationship not only through the website, but also through automated tools such as email sequences, newsletters. There's lots of different features. If somebody adds something to cart, you probably all experienced it. I know I do it all the time. And then, you get all of those automated emails that like, you left something in the cart, which I have been done before, and then someone goes, okay, well, here's 30% off. Yeah, okay, great, I'll buy it now. So lots of cool features. What I really love about um, utilizing your website in this way is that you can automate this relationship building. So when you are building trust with your audience in order for them to buy from you, it's about staying in constant communication. It's just like any other relationship, it builds over time. And it takes a certain few elements for you to actually decide that this person is trustworthy, worth your time, worth your investment. Okay. And when done well with a website, you don't have to just, imagine like you've got a potential lead. You might have to back in the day, or, a manual version of that is like calling them, hey, are you ready to buy yet? Like just letting you know we've got this new feature available. I actually get water, very bougie thing, but I get water delivered to my house, and the delivery guy calls me and he's like, I'm going to be in the area, so that ongoing relationship of reminding me to purchase. But a website and some of the features we're going to talk about today is a way in which you can do that from one to many, so that you can have multiple people in your sales funnel at a time who are deciding whether they want to buy it. A few different things about this, and depending if you want to put in what your business is in the chat, feel free to let me know so that I can maybe use it as examples in case, so that it fits for everybody, because there are so many different business models. But there's times sometimes where people go, okay, I really enjoy Startup Creative and I really want to get business advice, but I can't yet afford a coaching session. So, there might be lots of people coming to my website who are looking for that kind of support, but they don't yet have the finances, or maybe they don't really know exactly what they need help with. So me having multiple different features on my website, which is, free downloads, email sequences, blog posts, testimonials, my podcast, all of those links in the website helps people to do a DIY version. So they might download some worksheets and some workbooks and things, and kind of work through it themselves. They can watch, videos, they can listen to podcasts. And then eventually when they're ready, they're like, okay, I know what I need help with now, because I've done as much of it as I can, and I'm ready to buy. So there's ways that you can lead people up to like your big ticket item purchase by building, staying in constant communication with them without having to, email them individually or call them all the time by yourself. And so if there's any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. All right, so I'm going to show some slides here um, to help us understand this. So I am going to make this full screen if I can. All right. So, how to keep people coming back to your website. I have used this example before. We talked a little bit about it before we started last week, which was the first things, all of the different marketing tactics and strategies as to why people should come to your website and getting their attention in the first place is a sign, right? So it's the sign out the front that says, come to my website, and, or come into my business. So Here's a few fun examples that I found that, that those social media platforms and different things are all ways in which you can kind of give off your brand and what you stand for and what you're going to be offering from the get-go. So, this coffee one I found quite funny. And, that for me gives off like, yep, they're really serious about coffee. They know that I'm serious about coffee. And it's funny and, like, yeah, coming in for that IV drip of coffee. This motel kind of gives like vintage in the middle here that's, maybe cozy. There's a fireplace vibes. And then maybe here at the end, you've got this like maybe in and out, really low budget, experience here. So instantly you already know something about these businesses based on the sign of you bringing the attraction and doing that. Um, yeah. So then once you kind of get people coming over to your website, I shared this example before. It's like them walking into the hotel lobby, So you have an opportunity here this is where their first impressions on your website. I'm going to go through a bunch of features, but just as a bit of an analogy here, when you walk into a hotel lobby, you can get a general vibe, okay? And so before we actually kind of jump into this part, an exercise, which, I'm not going to go into today, but I thought would be useful if you haven't already done it. Start with your brand values. So all of these things between the sign and what your hotel lobby is, it's not just like we slap something, it's not well thought out. There's a feeling behind it, and the feeling is often the values behind the business. And so, what is it that you want people to feel? Is it like, I was thinking about signage in Japan. There's often cute little secret bars, and so there's like that kind of private exclusiveness. Do you want it to be fun? Do you want it to be inviting? Is it casual? Is it expensive? Is it affordable? Is it sustainable? Is it for a certain gender, whatever it might be. So, step one, I'll actually put some notes in our follow up about like starting with your brand values and how you want people to feel. And then, just like a hotel lobby, that's where you have the homepage of your website where people get to come in and get the vibe of your brand and your values. So that can translate to the tone of voice, the colors, the imagery, the fonts, the user experience. Is it bright? Is it bold? Is it simple? Whatever it is. But that is your first impression, and that's what you want people to come. So I'm using offline examples to try and give us this 3D experience because this is, when done well, this is what a website can do. And in order for people to keep coming back to your website, you want to first make sure that they have this a good first impression, and a effective website that reflects your brand values. So this is where they get to actually decide, do I belong here? Does this make me feel like, like this is going to be the experience that I'm looking for? So that's where your, tone of voice, all of those things come in. Feel free to ask any questions along the way. I'll make sure I keep the chat box open. All right. Okay, so just like walking into any kind of hotel room, then it's what's on display. Okay, so what is it? What's on display on your website, and what does it say about you? So this is where you want to get to, and I'll give some examples of this a little bit down the track. But this is where want some examples here. If some of you, I remember when Aesop really came onto, which is this hand cream here to the right, is when it first came onto the scene, it was like you walk into a bathroom at a restaurant or a hotel and it was like, they have Aesop, it's like, it's a certain aesthetic, it's a brand, it's a lifestyle choice. I love staying in hotels with record players. It's like I've got a record player in my house, so it's that really homey record vibe that I like. And so these are, these things that make you go, this is my person. I trust this person. There's something here that makes me feel a certain way. So this is where on your website, you want to think about what is the most important things that you want to put on display on your homepage that makes people, and what does it say about you? So, there's for a lot of product-based businesses, when I was finding some examples, which I'll show you in a minute, um is it that there's is it free shipping, is it that there's is it science backed, is it affordable, is there a discount code, is it an upcoming event, what is the key core things that you need to get across to your customer as soon as possible in order to showcase the value that you're going to bring to their life and what you stand for as a brand, what they can expect to get from you. So many people forget that as business owners, that our job is actually to portray to our audience what we stand for and how we can help them. So, and also to make it as clear as possible. There's so many beautiful ways to do things that can be really artsy or really poetic, but you really have a limited amount of attention, especially on this first website experience. If this is the first time they're coming to your site, you want to put things on display that are to get the message across as quick as possible, that is going to showcase what they can get from you. So, like clear offerings straight up, and what are the key highlights of your business? What are the things that are going to keep them here and go, oh, yeah, that sounds interesting. Again, I'll give you some examples. So, what are you going to put on display on the homepage that really showcases your brand values, what they can get from you, and why they should keep scrolling? Okay. And then once they're here and you've kind of got that across as quick as possible, again, if you start with those brand values, then this makes all of this work a lot easier. Then you want to start to show them around. So, if here's a few couple examples here of how we can do this. So there's an announcement bar feature that I personally love on Squarespace that is really quick and easy to update. In my personal, I'll show, there's an example of it down the track, but it's an announcement bar that is the most relevant, up-to-date, quick win of a piece of information that sits at the top of my website at all times. Majority of the time, it is a click through to my business plan template, because I shared this last week, is the last workshop was that is often when somebody's coming to start a side hustle, or to get, if they've just come across me, then they're probably looking for a business plan to get started. If they've already got a business plan, often sometimes people, as creatives, we don't always like starting with a business plan. We kind of jump in, but then we can download the business plan and go, oh yeah, have I forgotten anything? Or if they're just starting out, a business plan is a good place to start. So it's kind of a really good entry point. But if I have an event coming up, or free shipping, then I'll always put that kind of at the top of the website, and put that there. So you might want to then offer a quick gift or a quick win. So, that's where a lot of websites will be like, I actually found these sunglasses this morning offer. It was interesting watching my user experience. I saw these sunglasses advertised. I clicked through to the website. I got offered a 20% off code. I signed up for that code, and then I emailed it all to myself because I was on my phone. So I was like, when I'm on my computer in the morning, I'll have a look. If I still like it, then I'll buy it, which I did. So that quick offer and quick win got me over that line of being like, oh yeah, this I'm interested in. But if you're going to give me 20% off, then, that sweetens the deal. So I'm going to get over that line. And similarly to the announcement bar giving the free business plan template, it's a quick win. It's a quick action that they can take. You don't need to, tell them your life story, or, you go, explain too much. You kind of just, if somebody knows what they're here for. So for example, that sunglasses brand, it was a collaboration between two brands that I already have purchased from before, and that I have liked both of them in the past, and they were collaborating on these sunglasses. And so actually, funny example, I actually emailed them to myself this morning, and then I dropped my partner at work, and I drove past one of my favorite shops that I normally go to, and they had banners on that shop front saying announcing the collaboration between the two brands, and I was like, it's a sign. I'm going to go home and buy them. And so because when you see something online, you're like, oh, do I like it? What's it really going to look like? We talked about this last week. Don't underestimate the power of the posters and the in-person experience as well. So not always having to be online. Those things can incentivize us and remind us to come back to the website if we've done it, we found it. So offering that quick win. Again, similarly, if I go how to start a side hustle, or I looked at my SEO the other day, creative business coach Sydney, and someone comes across startup creative, then they already know they want to start a business. They can get a quick win and then decide whether that is, if it's for them and if they like it, and then there's more to explore. Pop-up boxes, great. I highly recommend them. I also just highly recommend that you test them on mobile and desktop, and that so that they have a good user experience. There's nothing worse than a pop-up box that takes up the whole screen and you don't know how to exit it out. So pop-up boxes can be like, hi, welcome. Put in your email for a discount code or whatever you might be offering. Join the mailing list for, the latest news coming up. A clear menu, so no riddles. I've got some examples of this. I talked about this last workshop. Again, this is all about showing somebody around. So, similarly, coming back to that, coming into a hotel lobby or a shop front, you want to be like, where are the amenities? Where's my room? How do I get there? What's the fire escape? Where's the pool? Like all of those things. What time's happy hour? You want to know the essentials as quick as possible to help you have a good experience. So having that really clear menu and making sure your menu is easy to navigate and find. There is, again, looking at websites to create some examples for you later. Sometimes finding the extended window menu that might be like a drop down was a little bit hard to navigate. So if I can't find more information quick, then I'm probably going to click off it as well. So again, what are your core values on the homepage? And I'll have some examples of this. How do you showcase what people can expect from you on that homepage? Again, that can come in colors, it can come in video. One of the examples I'm going to give you is from a dance class, and when I was on their website, and I'll send some of these links out for you guys to check out as well. It was so fun. And actually another one, Wawa, which is a clothing brand, they had a Join the Dots interactive on their website, which I love. And so there was lots of really fun life, experiential like vibes on their website, on their homepage, that made me feel things straight away. Really important for the dance class. That was like, there was footage of what the dance class was like. So, as an adult, if you're going to go to a dance class that you've never been to before, then being able to see what the experience is like oh, okay, cool. I can get on board with that. I'm more likely to book. Really important, you want to invite them to join the mailing list. So what is a really quick way that you can get people onto your mailing list? If you don't already have this set up, I highly recommend it. I've had coaching clients with tens of thousands of followers who have had their accounts, social media accounts, locked or shut down, or they've been hacked, and all of a sudden they have no audience to talk to. So building a mailing list is something that is hopefully not going to get hacked and that you can use directly. Again, similarly to that experience I was talking about with the sunglasses, is I personally was like, I'm looking at this on a small screen. I don't know if this is me getting old. I'm going to wait and make the bigger, over $100 purchase on my big screen in the morning, so that I can find that discount code. I don't, I can have multiple screens open. I can double check that, what they look like on the big screen. And yeah, and so I had a point there, which was oh, that sometimes like buying, I actually got served the ad on Instagram, but was more likely to make a purchase when I'm in my emails. And so I find this a lot. I can post on social media all the time about something, and people might not be ready to buy on social media. Often it's so fast paced. The example that we used in this first part of this workshop was, the person standing outside of the pizza shop, shaking the kind of like, come in, $10 pizzas, spinning it around and like getting your attention. And you go, oh, yeah, cool. There's a pizza shop on the corner. And, but it's all like social, that's what social media is. It's this really fast pace, attention grabbing, and there's hundreds of thousands, millions of people trying to do that. And so if I'm really serious about purchasing something or watching something of substance, or, that I will go and find the website and I will email it to myself. And then when I'm at my desk on my emails, I feel in a better position to make a purchase. So when you get people, don't underestimate the power of getting people on the emails. When I have posted things on social media, have often, people either miss it or don't do anything about it. But if I send an email, I can get more interaction and more engagement and conversions. And, my opinion of that is that when someone's at their computer, perhaps they're more likely which is most of the time where we would be reading emails if we're at work or at our desk, then we're in a better headspace to be able to make a decision. So often less chaotic, less notifications. And really importantly, tell them who you are and why they should trust you on this first homepage experience. So, really important. If you want people to come back, here's some of the things that you can do to kind of grab their attention, to show them around and introduce them. Again, think about it as like if I'm walking into a shop and I'm going, oh, I'm trying to navigate whether there's anything in here that I like, or whether it's, I can afford this place, like, oh, those feelings where you're scared to look at the price tags, or, it's when you can kind of have some comforting things that help you to go, okay, yep, this is my vibe. There's a brand here that I recognize, or like, my friend purchased from here, or the person has been really friendly. Then you kind of take a breath and you go, okay, I'm more likely to stop and have a look around. So that's what you want to do. You want to get people to come to your website, get these needs met, have some nice experiences, and then they're more likely to stay. And when they're more likely to stay and they can understand what you do, and then they can keep coming back to your website. So feel free to pop any questions that come up in the chat. Okay, a website must have an easy to navigate menu. Again, I'll give you some examples here. Um, Social links, I find this really important. Sometimes if I'm only coming across the website and I haven't come through them through social media, I personally like to have a quick look around social media, because sometimes it can be a really quick, vibe check, or I can see a face, or a video that they might have shared. So making sure your social links are really clear. Also because, again, these things feed each other. If I have a website with a clear link to a social and I go and follow you on social, just a little side quest here. If you do have a social link, make it open in a new tab, so that you're not losing people to social media, because once they get on social media, then they can get sucked into the scroll. So you want to open it in a new tab so that your website stays on their browser. And yeah, but again, then I can follow them on social media, and then that'll be a constant reminder, hopefully, that, I liked that website and I should go back and see what else there is for me. A really clear about page. Again, I'll give you some examples of this, and and where and how to shop. So, make that really obvious where the shop is, and obviously that's what they're there for. If it's not a shop straight up, it's a contact form. We'll talk a lot more about that shop and the contact and those sales pages be in the next workshop, which will be how to convert website visitors to paying customers. Continuity, really important. Fonts, colors, tone of voice. Again, a lot of maybe I just love staying in fancy hotels or nice hotels that do it really well. But the being able to have the website experience that looks and feels like what it looks like in real life as well. So similarly, if you all your website pages, you want them to look the same colors, the same fonts, tone of voice, photos, in all those things. So super clear so that it's not janky, or it's not like, am I on the same page? Again, websites should also match what else your branding of what you're doing elsewhere. A really clear message of what you stand for. Again, starting with those brand values. And I'll give you some examples. A call to action, what and where they can buy from you. So, when you get to the website, what are they getting straight away? That really clear message. And then call to action buttons, which is start here, buy now, get in touch, those kind of things. Again, a lot more on that next week, next fortnight. Answers to their questions. So the idea here, I guess, is people to keep coming back to your website, but also to stay on your website. Is what are the questions that they need answered for you to build that trust? So all of this is about building trust with your audience and automating the warming up the lead, they call it in the marketing space. But convincing trust, I think, is a nicer way to put it. Building trust with your audience that you've got something that they want or need, and that you're willing and able to deliver on that, and that you can help. And so, in order to do that, you need to have their questions answered. So, you might ask ChatGPT, or you've got some emails of questions that people have asked, or you just know the general questions. Sometimes when people say no to you and go, oh, I can't afford it, or, do you have express shipping, or you don't have my size, all of those things are things that you can put on the website in a frequently asked questions, in a blog post, in a really clear statement on the web, on the homepage, to prove people that you build that trust and to answer those questions. Because if you can't answer those questions and it's too confusing, or there's no answer, people will likely just go. Not often that we actually, unless you've done enough, work on, or they've come as a pretty strong referral, maybe a word of mouth, or they've heard about you a few different times, or they've watched a webinar or whatever. If they have questions about what you have, what you're offering, and you're not able to answer that, very rarely will people write to you and ask for that question. Like we just don't have time. We get distracted. We're not totally convinced yet. So we just go, oh, I'll think about it. Often that thinking about it can lead them away from the website. And then, in a world of a lot of noise, they just disappear into the internet and they forget how to get back to you, or, they just, something else pops up that answers their questions better, and they go with that as an option. So making sure you can answer as many questions. Again, I'll give you some answers. And sign up forms in a way is a way for them to test the waters. So, is it a free download? Is it joining the mailing list? Again, like if you're not giving them something, it might just be a newsletter that you speak to them, that you send out regularly. Then that is them going, look, I'm interested, but I'm not ready to purchase. So I'm going to join the mailing list. And then if I hear from you consistently, maybe once a month or whenever you've got something important to say to them, and it keeps popping up, and it's like, oh yeah, I often get this actually in real life feedback, is people will say, oh, I actually wrote a post recently, and somebody replied and said, I was actually wondering where Kay is, because I hadn't heard from you in a while. I hadn't seen anything come out from you in a while. I wrote a blog post. And so you don't know who's watching and thinking about buying from you. So being able to get them onto a mailing list and talk to them regularly is a really good way to keep reminding them that you're there. Any questions, feel free to pop them in there and I will get to them. All right, so let's go some examples here. Answering their questions is my first one. Yeah. Okay, so this is Wawa that I was talking about, which is a clothing brand. And oops, I made that too big. Nope. Okay, so this was a screenshot from the bottom of their website. I personally really love this. I'm going to tell you a few things why. Is it's really bright and colorful. Their clothing is really bright and colorful and it's fun. Okay, so really clearly this is towards the bottom of their website. I don't underestimate the power of a footer. If you've got a lot going on in your website or like I'm liking it, I often will go straight to the footer and get it's almost like a summary of a website, right? So here it's like this is everything I need to know. You know, if I'm into the brand and I want to do something, I can put my email in and get updates. These were all hyperlinked to questions. So that's well, obviously that's their shop, tops, bottoms, homewares. These are the questions that that they were answering for me and here as well. And then this acknowledgement here is a values alignment. Okay. So much about the brand that I can really clearly go, oh, what am I in? I've decided I like this brand. It was a really fun website. I'm going to scroll to the bottom and then I'm going to have this really nice summary where all my questions can be answered. So clear shop links, clear information and answers to my questions here, and then some values alignment. Also the color, it was and the way that it was designed, super different, really stands out, and really says a lot about the brand. Yeah. So feel free to give any questions there too that you might have along these. And again, if you want to use your put your website in there, chat. I'll have a look at them afterwards. Okay, here's a really different example of a questions being answered. This is Nagnata, another clothing brand that I love. Um, Again, I think this is super simple, but this was again the footer of the website. Really, a lot of this for me, I thought was really good at questions answered. Contact details, super simple. How do I get in touch with people? How do I join the mailing list? I think lots of, and what you'll see, and there's a few different examples, don't be afraid to put multiple calls to action for joining the mailing list because people might miss it. Maybe the pop-up box doesn't work. Maybe you know, they scrolled past it or they clicked on something. But if they're interested, you want to get them onto the mailing list as quick as possible. And this information here, their stores, their story, all of their social links there, and then questions answered as well. So I really also think that it's so hard to come by businesses that really clearly outline how to contact them, especially with phone numbers these days. I was like, that's wild. But super clear, simple footer at the bottom of their website, not afraid to take up space with giving their questions answered. Okay, a clear message. So this was the Groove Therapy was the dance website that I talked about. So this is their homepage. I screenshot. This is just a section of their homepage. This was a moving video behind the scenes there. Sydney beginner adult dance class. Bet you that is great for their SEO. They probably repeat that all over their website. Actually, these guys were a client of mine years ago. This video was just a flick through of classes that, you know, real life classes, you know, online classes and tutorials that they've done. Super clear. I'd screenshot it in a bad moment here, but no mirrors, dim lights, Sydney, a community, not a scene. That for me was like, oh, okay, cool. That is my vibe. I don't want to go to a fancy dance class, right? Which is exactly what these guys do different. And then super clear call to action, book tickets. It's not anything else like, you know, fancy. It's just clear Sydney like beginner adult dance class, no mirrors, clearly our values, what we stand for, and book. Okay, so super simple. Let's spell it out. We don't need to be cryptic about it. The Standard Hotel in Melbourne, this is their homepage. What I loved about this was it looked like a house that I would want to live in. And for me, this one's super simple, but in terms of a clear message, they didn't have to do much. All they had to do was showcase this image for me, at least, and go, "Oh, I would want to live here." And so if I walked into this, hotel, I look forward to going to this hotel and being able to walk in and go, this is stunning. I already am like, when you sit down and go, oh, I'd like a curtain like that for my house or things. That is like a brand alignment. They didn't need to showcase any, I haven't seen any of the rooms or anything. All they've done is that their style is similar to mine and it feels homey, it feels, boutique, it feels alternative, all of these different things, which going back to your brand values, if they're the words that you want, which we talked about at the beginning, how do you want people to feel? This image captures it. It's a still image on the homepage, striking, gorgeous, and tells me what I want to know about the brand and the experience. Okay, Amy Porterfield, I've been following her for years. She's always been a really good inspiration. Bit of a different design here. She does a lot of online coaching around, growing online businesses, really. So, good example here at the menu bar, the drop down attention bar at the top here. This is the latest information. So if you've seen on social media that she's offers a membership experience, then that's the highlight. So it's the first thing that you see. Oh, that's, you don't need to keep scrolling. If you've come to the website, it's exactly where you want to go. Super clear menu bar here, home, about, courses, resource, podcasts, and then free guide, which is an opt-in. Again, this first steps to a profitable email list. It's a free guide. The online business equals freedom. It's in how you work. That's her values. That's what I want. That's what she's selling me. And then that freebie is a way that I can test out her business. So ticks all those boxes. These guys, which are an amazing brand that I love, New Zealand based, they do this brain drink software. And I know a bit about them because they were on my podcast. But the guys worked at I think, one of those energy drinks, the founders, and they realized how bad the energy drinks are for people but how popular the industry was, but there was no healthy or natural alternative. So they call this a brain drink, right? But if you're going to call it a brain drink, then you're probably going to come up against someone that says, well, how do like it's like, I think Red Bull, got sued or something, like someone, Red Bull gives you wings, and there was a court case around that or something, I think. Don't hold me to that. But, so if you're going, part of their brand values is, well, we're going to be backed in science. And so their first hire was a neuroscientist. And I've actually watched this change a little bit since these guys started. Firstly, this is their homepage, their full, what is on offer. So that's all the different products there, which I really liked. It's like this is all the different formats in which you can get this. But on the homepage, the first thing you see is neuroscience in bold. That is, if I have a question about, well, what is this? Is this a sham? Is this real? Like, what's in it? All these things. Then scientifically proven neuroscience on the homepage answers that question for me. So I'm instantly feeling safer about this brand and this product. Again, another hotel, because I think they're really awesome examples. Paramount House Hotel. This was their rooms when I clicked on their room page. This I thought was super simple. Again, it's got that beautiful experience of a home that you would want to live in. And then this sentence I thought really stood out. It's a strong connection to local life, designs overflowing with features that conjure a sense of place. Our room is a perfect mix of heritage and new. So for me, that was like, this is, it's a describing word of what they stand for and what I can expect to get when I stay at this hotel. Okay, Let's jump into newsletters. So, sending regular newsletters, my biggest piece of advice is just to send what you can consistently do. I'm actually going to write a whole blog post about this, so stay tuned because I've been helping quite a few people with it lately. I tend to do a formula. So, what is an update that you can share with people. I'll give you some examples, but it doesn't need to be all sales. But talking to people in newsletters on a regular occasion is an opportunity for you to build trust with your audience and keep reminding them. So, firstly, there's a few different things here. This is an example at my website. The business plan, that's a clickable link, that thing at the top there. That's a way for people to download the business plan, which puts them on the mailing list. I have the 5 foundations for business success. That is a mailing list as well. I looked at that the other day. I put it up. It's a 5-part email sequence, which you can see here. You can set it up on the back end of Squarespace. So someone subscribes and then you put no time delay and then they get this automated email. And then there's 4 other ones. I think there's actually 6 in total that come every day afterwards. So the next 5 days they get automatically sent, and each day I talk about a different foundation for success. I looked at it before. Hundreds of people have signed up for that on my mailing list. And I did it over a year ago, and I haven't looked at it since, which I probably should go back and make sure it's still all working well, which I think is a good thing to regularly do. But another way for people to just get free business advice and support from me and start to decide whether they want to invest more. This I just put up the other day. I released a podcast about pitching. People can go to our homepage on the website and put in their email address to download an email template for free. Again, when we talk about people coming back to your website, having fresh things that you're constantly thinking of for people to a reason. So on the podcast, I talked about coming to the website to get this download. So those attention strategies that we talked about, driving them to the website and giving them fresh things. So it's not just I've seen everything here. It's like if you walked into a clothing shop that never got new stock, right? So there are a few different ways to get people onto your newsletter to start with. Okay, here's a few examples of newsletters that I love, and I highly recommend. I personally sign up to newsletters and like them and save them and share them with coaching clients as examples. So, Drinks is a wine delivery company. They not only have on their newsletter is really funny and I like it. They have what new wine is in stock and that you can order from them. It's a reminder of their shipping details. There's a really clear call to action to add to cart. I didn't get to put the whole thing in here, but they also will be like what's on, with events that they might be doing. They do wine tastings with winemakers and things like that. Um, and then Aura Health, which again is another, excuse me, cool company that we had on the podcast who do natural supplements. I love this, called the monthly dose. I actually, I read it, they have no here, but then they also have like experience, watch, listen. It varies every month, but um, I read on here like actually a different email that I had the other day, but I saw a recipe pop up and I cooked it for dinner that night because of an email from a Japanese homeware shop. They interviewed someone from one of my favorite Japanese restaurants in Melbourne, and they shared a recipe. And so those exciting things that aren't just here's what's on sale are reasons why you open that email, so I can get a quick win from it. It's not just you telling me that you want to sell to me all the time. So what I did get from the Aura email recently was they talked about how a 60-second shower every day will make you live longer or something. There was some statistic about it. Anyway, I read it and I was like, that's cool. I was like, now I do cold showers for 60 seconds in the morning, most mornings. Not mainly this week because it's been cold, but but it was from their email. And so it's not always, it's health, they're a health brand. And so they also give me health quick wins and tips, and it's relationship building. I'm not just talking about myself all the time to you. And then the final one here again, Paramount House. I really love them as a brand. I always have. Their newsletter is awesome. This one was called like Neighborhood, What's in the Neighborhood or something, which they often do. I think I do it monthly. They've got a playlist here. They've got a recommendation for where to go and get a rainbow Negroni, a latest place to eat. I don't know what that one is. I've cropped it out, but house favorites, Paramount House hotels. So there was also parts in there about booking and a discount code, but there was lots of different other things outside of knowing the brand that helped. Okay, blogs, another great way. So that's your regular newsletter. Send it as, think outside of the box. Just gonna go running out of time here, but blogs, again, think outside the box. So this was a Japanese homeware store, guide to Hobart, what to do in Tassie this autumn. It's got nothing to do with their Japanese shop. It's got to do with, my audience, and I know them, and my brand values is that they probably like to go to Tasmania and go on walks or go to Dark Mofa or whatever. So there's a nice guide there. These are exciting things that are like community building, that are trust building, that are outside of selling all the time. So these are reasons I should keep coming back. This was the Paramount House Hotel, a guide to living in Sydney, spring summer guide. So again, these are things that I understand my audience and I know what else they like outside of buying from me. So I'm going to give them fresh, exciting new ways to come back to the website. And then this is from my website, an old one that I was looking through some different examples, but business books to skill you up for a successful 2020. Blogs are really good for SEO and getting people back to your website. Got blogs are a really good way to, if you share it on your on social medias or wherever else or your email, are a reason to get people to go, oh, there's a blog that I haven't read. So they're going to come back and read it. And you don't have to, do a guide or, give big advice or all those things. But you could just go, here's 10 books that I've read, or, here's my favorite 5 things to do around the city. For example, this week after writing this talk and helping a few coaching clients with newsletters, I realized, oh, I can do my top 5 newsletters and why I love them as a blog post. So reasons for people to keep coming back. There's fresh content. If you're not changing your products all of the time, a blog post is a really good way to keep your website fresh. Okay, keeping them coming back, fresh content, blogs, free downloads, whether you've got a sale, maybe that like Groove Therapy put out a mood playlist every month as well. So when they send that out into their emails, again, it's like I'm going to go to the website and download that get the link to that playlist. Customer reviews and testimonials are another fresh ways of keeping that up to date. So even if, yeah, you don't have too much fresh content, you can get your customers to leave reviews or you can ask for those testimonials. You can, do a blog post that's a portfolio piece that outlines a piece of work that you did for a client recently, which doubles as a testimonial. Make sure you have those multiple sign up forms, a regular newsletter, and those frequently asked questions or just what questions that they would like to get answered from you. Okay, I did it. We got through it all. So that I will send out those slides and some links to some of those websites so you can have a look. But if there's any questions, we've got a couple of minutes, please let me know. And yeah, put it in the chat. Otherwise, thank you for being here. I'll send out the recording and your homework or your notes. And we will be doing part 3 in 2 weeks from now. So I'll also put a link. That's a whole different sign up form. So see you at session 3, Leanne. Thank you. Have a good week, everybody. And thanks for being here. If there's no questions, I'll let you all go. Amazing. Thank you. Thanks, Jackie. Thanks, Sam. All right. Well, have a good afternoon, everybody. Thanks, Robert. Thanks for being here. And yeah, good luck with your websites. Feel free to get in touch if you would like any coaching support. Otherwise, I will see you in a couple of weeks, and I hope that helped. All right, guys, have a good day.